In our previous video, we have seen how to create form group and form controls for each of our fields created as part of create session component.ts. Okay, so what is the next step is we have to bind our form to the form group. By making use of these form controls, we have created the form group, and by making use of this form group, we can bind it to its specific HTML page, that is create session component.html. Let's go to create session component.html. So here we have to bind our form to the form group, right? So for this is our form. So for this form we have to bind form group, okay, and this will be equal to new session form, right? That's the name which we had used in our create session component.ts. If you observe, the form group which we are creating is new session form, right? So we are making use of new session form over here by binding it. Okay, so here we'll provide new session form. Okay, then what we have to do, we have to trigger an event. What is that event? On click of save, we have to trigger save session event, right? So on ng submit, we'll trigger this event and we will call save session method, which will take new session form dot value. These are the changes which we have to do in order to bind the form group to our HTML. Okay, so what is the next step? Next step is, let us bind these form fields to their corresponding form controls. Okay, so what we are going to do, we have to bind it. So what is the field which we have created? If you observe here, what are the fields? Name field, that is session name field. So for this field, first we will create form control name. Okay, form control name for each of this, starting with name. Okay, here for this input field, let's create form control name. Form control name, this will be equal to name. Okay, and similarly in the same way, let us bind form fields to their corresponding form controls. So form control name equals name, and similarly we have to bind for others as well, that is form control name equals, in this case it is presenter. Okay, and similarly we have to bind for others as well. So here in this case it is select, so let's use form control name equals, in this case it is duration, and for other fields as well. Here form control name, this is equals to level, and what is the last field which we are using? That is text area. For text area also similarly, form control name equals abstract. Okay, that's it. Okay, so we have binded our form fields to their corresponding form controls. So next step is we have to create save session method by passing form values as parameter, where inside create session component.ts. So inside create session component.ts, what we are going to do is we will create a new method over here. Okay, we'll create a new method with name save session, which will take form values. Okay, and inside this method, what is the next step is, let's import the session model and create a new session object and map each other fields over from the form values. Okay, let's import the session model. Why? Because whatever the fields, that is id, name, duration, level, presenter, abstract and voters, these fields we are getting it, we are following the event model. Inside event.model.ts we have specified this interface, right? That is iSession interface. So let's follow this particular model approach only. So we will take these properties by importing iSession here. So inside this create session component.ts, let's import iSession. Okay, so let session equals, sorry, let session of iSession. Okay, this is equals all the properties which were specified as part of create, that is event model.ts, that is id, name, okay, duration, what else, level, presenter, then abstract, then voters. Okay, for id, since we are generating the id based on dynamically, for now let's pass the id as undefined. Okay, undefined. And for name, let's pass as form values dot name. Okay, form values dot name. And similarly for duration, form values dot duration. And for level, form values dot level. For presenter also similarly, form values dot presenter. For abstract, that is form values dot abstract. Okay, and for voters, let's pass an empty array. Okay, here we are missing a comma. Okay, that's it. So what we have done, we have imported session model and we have created a new session object and map each other's fields over from the form values. By using these form values, we have mapped it. Okay, and here we are going to log it to the console. That is console dot log of this session. Okay, let's save all these changes. So what else is pending now? If you observe in our HTML, create session component.html, we have created, we have binded this form group over here, and we have included form control names for each of these fields. And for each of these form fields which we had specified inside HTML, correspondingly what we have done, we are calling save session method on click of this. That is, on submitting this form, ng submit, we are calling save session method, which is going to take form values as parameter. Okay, as part of these form values, we are getting id, name, duration, level, presenter, abstract, voters. We are following the same properties which are specified as part of event.model.ts from iSession interface. So we are importing this iSession interface, and we are actually, what we are going to do, we are creating a new session object and mapping each other's fields over the form values. That's it. Now we will save all these changes. Let's run the project by making use of npm space start. Okay, npm space start. Okay. So our project is getting compiled. It's building the modules. It got compiled successfully and hosted on localhost colon 4200. Let's open this link now. Okay, so as part of this link, we are able to see that this is all events page. So let's navigate to create new session. It is events slash session slash new. Okay, here what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill some value for this session. For example, h session, h presenter, provide some duration, some level, and abstract. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open the developer console by inspecting this. Inside our console, once I click on this save button, okay, you should be able to see the object is getting created. Okay, for now this is not getting created. Let's see why this is not happening. Okay, let's see now. If you observe, as part of this, on click of the save button, object is not getting created, right? So let's see what is the error over here. I'll switch to Visual Studio Code. Now here, if you observe, inside create session component.html, we are triggering this ng submit event and we are calling save session method. But if you observe over here, ng submit, s is small s, actually it should be capital S. That is the mistake which we have done. Now this is getting called, that is save session is getting called, and it should create a new session object and store all the values of the form. Okay, and let's compile this. Okay, let's run the project by using npm space start. It's building the modules. Got compiled successfully. Let's open this link. Okay, now I'll navigate to, that is, event/session/new. Here I'm going to provide some values. Okay, duration, level, okay, and some abstract. Okay, now I'll open developer console. Inside our console, on click of this save button, we are able to see that object is getting created with these values which we have passed so far. Okay, that is id, abstract, duration, level, name, presenter, and voters. Okay, that's it. So what are the changes which we have done so far is, whenever we are binding, that is, form group to our create session component.html, and we are also including form control names for each of these fields over here, and we are creating a new session object over here, and we are passing it to the console. Okay, later we will see how we can save this session in a real time. Okay, for now we are just logging into the console to check whether it works or not. Okay, what is the next step? Next step is, we have not introduced any validations for this saving session, right? As part of this application, if you observe, here we are filling the form and clicking on save, it is getting saved. But what about the validations which we want to apply for each of these fields? So let's see how we can apply validations for each of these fields as part of the reactive forms, and let's explore more about this in our next video. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Please like, comment, and share this video, and kindly subscribe to my channel in order to watch more videos.